Stream, and in this stream we're going to be working on well, we got the environment set up in the last stream. In the stream we're going to be working on some Neovim node client development, specifically for a plugin I'm working on called Nostr.nvim. So if you know what Nostr is, then you'll know what I'm doing. If not, you can kind of still probably follow along and learn something. Let's see here, make sure I get the chat. I think I do have the chat over there, but we'll check it here anyway too. Make sure that this is on live, and I'll be back for that later on. Let's see here. Do I have to watch? Yes. How's it going, Santiago? So you're coming from YouTube, but I don't see anything on. You know what? That's because this is my last live stream. Let's do a refresh here. There we go. Okay, hey, how's it going? All right, so I'm going to be working on some documentation for this, and I'm going to be working on some other things too. Do you guys think it's important that I have the chat up? Or do you think I can just talk to you? Because I can see it on my other monitor on the left. So like I can see Johan's here, says Anya. I don't know what Anya means. And I can see Sadiq is here, he says hi. But I don't know if it's important that I have like the chat up somewhere. Maybe I can like put it up. I'll do like that floating thing again at some point. I'll figure that out. Okay. So let's get started with what we're doing. I guess first I'll explain kind of like some of the node client stuff. And I'm going to make sure to document a lot of this stuff in the README as well. All right, so we're going to be using the node client, and the reason is because I want to use a JavaScript library inside of Neovim. I don't want to rewrite like all of the functionality myself in Lua, so I'm like, all right, but I want to use this functionality, and so they have a JavaScript like API that I can use. So they have this node client, so it allows me to essentially like kind of bridge JavaScript to Neovim and then interact with it via Lua as well. So I'm probably gonna show you a little bit about that. I don't think I'm gonna do all of that right away. Why don't you use Streamlab overlay for chats? I don't use Streamlab, but maybe I'll start using Streamlab. Right now I'm using OBS. Can I use Streamlab with OBS? I don't know how any of this stuff. I'm a terrible streamer. All right. Bedtime? All right. Must be in a totally different time zone than me. Okay, so let's take a look here. Basically, you can check out the Neovim node client. I'm going to make sure that this is in the README for the project I'm working on. Let's go to this. Okay, we have the README open here. So yeah, okay, never mind. That's right there. So that's the Neovim node client. Can you explain what it does? I mean, the node client. Yeah. So let me show you what that's going to look like. So let me show you just from like Neovim, like as a plugin all the way down to how it's going to work. So I have a plugin called Nostr here. And the way that it's going to work is I'm just going to install it like any other plugin, right? And then if we go to that plugin, it would be under share, nvim, we'll go under lazy. Okay. Now inside this plugin, you're going to have this normal, and maybe I'll make this a little bit bigger so you can see. We're going to have the normal Lua folder, right? That all like Neovim plugins are going to have. But then we're also going to put this R plugin folder. And what I think that means is remote plugin. I think that's what that stands for. So then inside of the remote plugin folder, we're going to go into R plugin. Then we're going to go into node, right? And then you're going to name your project here. So we'll go to Nostr. And then you'll just have like an index.js, and then I have a lib folder. So in the lib folder, that's where I'm keeping like a lot of the logic. And then this index.js, that's where I'm just keeping like just like a simple kind of like export here that just basically calls all of the functions that I define in the lib folder. So one of them here is going to generate a pair of public and private key pairs, for instance, right? So they have a few different methods for defining functions and stuff. So this is one way here. If we look actually in the examples section, they have these 4 different ways. So you can define this as a class, right? So you'll say like, okay, name your plugin as a class, then you'll do a constructor, some things that you'll, run every single time that your plugin's instantiated. This is all, I guess, inside the constructor here. And then this is going to be a module.exports, and basically what that's going to do is it's going to take in the plugin. This is like this is passed to the class like always, just initially. And then it's going to instantiate the new plugin there, and then you'll just, export it. And then I guess you could call methods off of that. Another way is to do it via decorators. Decorators are, in my opinion, I don't really like decorators. I think they're a little bit too magic, personally. They always confuse the shit out of me. I hate decorators. I've worked with decorators. What's another thing you can call them is annotations, I think is what they were called in Spring and Java world. I forget. Anyway, anytime you see this @ sign and some bullshit over top of like a function or a class, I hate it. But it's another way to do it. I'm just complaining, I guess. So, for instance, you could decorate a particular function as a function, and then you could call it in Neovim as a function. How you would call like a Neovim function is you would do like call, and then like, my cool function, and you would do it like that, right? So when you define a function in the Node client, that's how you would end up calling it. Command would, I'm pretty sure, end up going something more like this, like my cool command, like that, right? And so that's how you'll annotate a particular function as a command. You can do these things async, and then here's another command there. So that's how you would do it with decorators if you wanna. This I'm not familiar with, like this prototype way of doing it, but the way that I'm going to be doing it is the functional way. So essentially you'll just see this module.exports at the top. It'll take in this plugin, and then with that we're just going to register things like auto commands, but mainly I'm just going to be registering functions. So if we jump over to this here, where was I? I think it's here. Is it here? No, this is the Lua code. If we jump back to index, right? So you'll see that I'm just going to require some libraries at the top, just some libraries that I personally defined. This one's called keys. So if you look over here, I have lib and then I have keys. This is just some business logic just to like, generate keys. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to write module.exports, pass the plugin through, and then that plugin object will allow us to essentially, it'll give us access to kind of, I guess, just a bunch of helper methods and all like, all the stuff that comes with the plugin object here. So what we can do on that is we can register functions, we can register commands, and we can do all that kind of stuff. Now, I think that it's a little bit, and we can register auto commands. I think that this is maybe not documented super well. So it's a little bit confusing. You can there's other things you can do, but we're going to mostly keep it to just registering different functions. And again, there's more things like you can see like register function is here, register command. There's other weird stuff, register auto command, set options, right? What else do we got? I think that's about it there. But yeah, there's other weird stuff, and I'll kind of go through all that too, and you'll kind of see how I'm getting it all to work, I guess. So let me take a look at the chat here. Hopefully I was able to explain that like decently. I don't know. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm doing okay. You are still on Nostr? Nice. Yeah. We're still doing Nostr stuff. Hey, is Neovim from scratch still maintained? It's not maintained by me. It's maintained by somebody else. Java notations are classic for Spring fans. Yeah, no, they suck. I hate them. It's I don't like it for development at all because it just confuses the shit out of me. Like I look at it and it's just, anytime I see an annotation, I'm just like, oh no, like it's just I don't know what this thing's gonna do. You know, it's always gonna be something confusing. I always have to dig through it, and like it's always like some weird, complicated. I don't want to get into why I hate annotations. Okay, just suffice to say, most people will probably hate working with annotations, I think. So let's get started here. So basically, I'm just going to take all this code out just so it looks like we're working with something much simpler, and then I'm just going to go through the code base really fast. So what we're working with here is just one library that I defined called keys. Then here I'm just doing the module.exports, and we take the plugin object as like an argument here, which just gets injected by Neovim itself and the node client. All right, this is where it ends. Now we're going to just set some options. The dev equals true. I don't really remember what this does. I think it's supposed to reload something or something. I don't know. I don't think that it works, at least how I expected it to work. Anyway, it confused me. I'm not really, you could probably ignore that. The only thing that really matters here is going to be this register function. So register function is a function. So you're going to do plugin register function. Then you're going to name your function. So mine's going to be called Nostr generate keys. That's going to be the name of this function. Then we're going to say that it's async, meaning essentially like, you know, everything doesn't have to happen in sync for this to run, right? So we don't have any, it's no synchronous process here. And then we have keys.getKeyPair. So keys.getKeyPair will go down here, and we have this function here. All this does is it's just, now see, we're working with JavaScript, but you know, through all this, we're working with JavaScript. So let me jump back. So, you know, obviously this is, it kind of goes without saying, but this is all JavaScript. And we're going to go into getKeyPair, and we have logger.log. This is a logger class that I made myself because the logging wasn't really working for me. But you can just imagine that this logs to a file. Then we can use the file system. So I'm going to check if this key path exists. If it does, then I'm going to say it already exists. I'm just going to log that to a file somewhere. Then we're going to parse this key path, which if you go back here, you can see that the key path is just under config, Nostr.nvim, and keys.json. All right, and then we'll just return the keys, else the key pair doesn't exist. And then in that case, I'll generate the key pair. So then we're gonna, this is the part where I needed to use, this is why I'm using the node client, because I want to generate a private key and I want to generate a public key. Now I could have wrote all this logic in Lua, but there is no Lua library to essentially do what I want to do here, especially with all the other Nostr specific things that I want to do. So if you have like some library that you've used in JavaScript and you want to use it in Neovim because there's no library that you can use in Neovim for what you want to do, right? Then this is a good time where you can bring something like the node client in, or Python or something like that. So anyway, we're going to generate a private key. This comes from the Nostr tools library. So we have generate private key and get public key right here, and you can see that that's where we're importing them from the Nostr tools library. Write the generated keys to a file. So this is just me getting the keys. And here's where we're just going to write them to a file. Okay. So once this is ran, essentially, if we go take a look here, and I'll go over this in a second. This is the rplugin.vim. So now if we go to .config, Nostr.nvim, and we open up keys.json after running that function, which I can run it again. Now I'll show that running later. But you can see now we have a private key and a public key in this file. And so that's what you're going to need to get started with the particular plugin that I'm working on. You know, something you may be working on may be different if you're just here to learn about the node client. So let me see here. Long time no see. How's it going? Late tonight? Well, today it's early for me. It's 4 p.m. How have you been? It's been a while. Oh, hey, yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, it has been a while. I've been really busy kind of trying to get a house and stuff like that. So that's why I haven't been able to stream and do stuff lately. What font am I using? I'm using a font called Mona Lisa, which is like a paid font, so it's a little expensive. But anyway, yeah. So the important thing is that I'm able to use Nostr tools here. And you can see that I can use any JavaScript library I want. I have a package.json here, right? And we're just going to pull in Nostr tools and then another library called WebSocket Polyfill. You can pull in whatever libraries you want if you just want to use the Node client, and that's all you're interested in. So now, let's see. Nostr.nvim. Let's also take a look at the Lua code now. So you can see that if we're over here, we'll go to the index.js, and we exported a function, and we named it Nostr generate keys. Okay? So now, if we go up to the plugin, so this is like the root plugin directory, which is Nostr.nvim. Now remember, we had our plugin, node, Nostr, and then we have this index.js, but like we want to call this function here inside of Lua. So we're going to run back to, whoops, let's go back up here. Now we're going to go into the Lua folder. We'll create another folder called Nostr, because you always want to namespace your modules. And now we're going to go under init.lua inside of there. Now from here, you could ignore pretty much all this. There's just one place that matters. Okay, yeah. So this is just some basic like options and stuff. I don't even have the options set yet. This show notes, you can totally ignore this. You can basically totally ignore the stuff at the top there too. That's not the stuff that's interesting. This function here is what's interesting. Okay, so we're going to define a function that we're going to export. So, we're just going to do the local like m equals some empty table, and then we're going to return m. See that, right? Okay, and so then we're going to do m.read from relay. That's just what it's called. Really, this should be called generate keys. Okay, so this is going to be called generate keys. Then we're going to do, so I have a p call here. It doesn't have to be this complicated. One way you could do it is you could just say like local result is equal to that, essentially, yeah, right there. So Copilot helped us out with that. And then you could just return the result. So you could do local result, and then you could return the result. Now, what we're doing here is we're saying vim dot, I'm pretty sure that stands for function, that FN there. So essentially we're going to call a function, and it's going to be Nostr generate keys, which is the function we defined over in this here, right? And then you got to make sure you call it. Make sure you put these parentheses here, because if you don't put the parentheses here, that result is just going to be like assigned to the function that's never been called yet, So make sure you, because I've forgotten the parentheses before, and I'm like, why the hell is this function not running? And it was just assigning it to that function, which was kind of stupid. And then you can just return the result. So whatever this function returns, that's going to return in Lua now, and now you can actually bridge JavaScript over to Lua, and then the Lua can just kind of like, wrap everything up nice so that now you can return an API to for your plugin. So now if we go to the Nostr plugin, what I can do is instead of read from relay here, again, I just renamed it to generate keys, right? So now what I can do is I can say Lua require, so I'm just setting a key map here. So you do like CMD, and if you don't want to do like CMD, you just do like, colon, right? But we'll do CMD, Lua, then we'll do require, the name of whatever your project is, and this is in Lua, so it's, whatever you namespaced it. So it's going to be Lua, and see I have Nostr and then init.lua. And so we have Nostr there, and then we have generate keys. Generate keys is the function that's here. And then just make sure that this is just a carriage return. So then what that's going to do is it's going to run it every single time that I press Control N in normal mode. So that's the idea. Let's see over here. You active on Nostr? Inferno, if you want to send links, I have to make you a moderator. So now you're a moderator. There you go. Are you active on Nostr? I think you found your pub key, but not much happening there from your side. Yeah, I've been super busy lately, so I haven't been able to post much. I haven't posted much anywhere really lately, so I'm just getting back into it. But if you want my pub key for Nostr, I'll just come over here. You can see I'm on Damus, so I have like the client for Mac. Let's see here. I think I have to go. Oh, there it is. I'm like, where the hell's my pub key? This is my pub key on Nostr that you can follow. For later, how to fix indent line. Yeah, I'll have to remember that. I can go pin that in the Discord. So if anytime you guys have anything interesting to put, I can always go and pin this. Oh, this is Ma. Okay, cool. I can always go and pin this here, so it makes things a little bit easier for me to like remember what you guys send, and that's kind of the smart way to do it, I guess. Thanks for your help. Can you give me your GitHub username? Okay. Yep, no problem. Just trying to send the link to the file. Oh, okay. How's it going, Kui? Maybe Rambles is just easier to say. Pin that as well. Well, it's in there. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to put any, I don't want to draw too much because I know that's a paid thing, so I'm going to just ignore that. Anyway, so let's see what we got here. The next thing I should also mention, too, about doing this is that when you actually use this, you need to run a couple things. So first thing you're gonna need to do is you want to make sure you have that node modules folder, right? So you want to make sure you install all of your node modules with npm. So you're gonna need to have npm installed. You're gonna need to have some version of node installed. So the node version that I'm using, well, here it's 20, but let's do fnm use 18 because that's the one I'm using, I think, over there. So the one I think I'm testing this with right now is 18.18. 20 will probably work too. But, I've had it work with certain versions of Node and then certain things didn't work with other versions. So far, 18 seems to be working. I think 20 seems to be working too, and I'm pretty sure 16 will work. But I probably would do 16 and above if I were you. Other thing is we have update remote plugins here. So you always want to run that. So we're going to do update remote plugins. And you'll see, okay, let me do messages so you can see. Node host registered plugins Nostr. And that's going to be called whatever this is called in our plugin. So if we go under node and then Nostr, that's how it gets its name. And then it generates an R plugin or remote plugin manifest at users, username.localshare.nvim rplugin.vim. And so if we go to rplugin.vim, this is here. If we do pwd really quick, and then we'll do messages, you can see this is in user local.local or users username.localshare.nvim, and then we're looking for the rplugin.vim. And you may notice when you're working on this that maybe like your function's not found. You got to make sure your function's here. If it's not defined here, then you're beat and you did something wrong and something's broken. It'll also tell you whether or not it's synchronous. It'll tell you the type of thing that it is, whether it's a command or an auto command or whatever it might be. So like you could run JavaScript on an auto command. So like something could happen, some event could trigger, and you could run a JavaScript function, whatever that JavaScript function might be. So if you know any cool JavaScript libraries, like that's something you could do. It'll tell you where it's defined. So it's looking for it in nvim lazy nostr.nvim, so on and so forth. And you can see that there's other interfaces here as well. So we have like Python 3, Perl, Ruby, and then Python. I don't know who's writing Ruby plugins for Neovim. I've seen some Python plugins for Neovim. I don't know who's writing Perl plugins for Neovim, and I've seen a good amount of Node ones. I think this might be how, I would assume this is how a lot of COC was done, is through the Node plugins section. Right. Have I checked out V0 Dev? VO Dev? No. What's the name of your terminal? WesTerm. WesTerm is the terminal that I'm using. Okay, so let's keep going here. We have our generate keys. I'm probably just going to leave it like this, and we'll see how it goes. And it looks like we're generated here, so that's fine. What I'm going to do is, what is this? Okay, this is where I have it set up there. I do that. I have that in two places. So let's do this. Let's go into .config, or just .config, and then we're just going to blow away the Nostr.nvim. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to open this up. Okay, and the hotkey that I have it associated with is Control-N. So I'm going to press Control-N over here. And it had a problem. I don't know what the problem was. Read from relay. There's some problem. It's a nil value. Maybe I didn't save. I probably didn't save this. Let's reopen this again. Do Control-N. Looks like it ran. It didn't send any messages. So we could actually put a message to make sure that this actually ran. So we'll maybe put something like, where is that? We want to put it in the code here. So let's do, it's going to index me like this is like a sub project or something. Do I have, 1 second. Yeah, here we go. So let's do, let's just do something like print, or you know what we'll do? We'll do vim.notify, and then we'll just do keys generated. We don't really need the result though. Get rid of that. Okay, I just formatted the code. Put a little exclamation point there. So yeah, now we're gonna return the result. Yeah, we'll do this, then we'll return the result. Not that the result really is anything. I think the result's just 0. I don't think we really need to do anything with the result as far as I know. Yeah, because we're just gonna read it all out of that file anyway, so we don't really need to return anything. We could just do this like that. All right, and then in the future, maybe I'll do like a pcall thing there or something. Okay, so now let's go back over to where we're calling this, which was, I think, here. We'll reopen this. We'll just do Control-N again, and you can see info keys generated. And now what we should see is, we'll use this one. Config Nostr.nvim. It created this directory here for me, and then we're going to go into keys.json, and now we have our keys. So this is a private key and a public key pair. In the future, when I actually do like publish this out, a user would either generate one for themselves, or the user would go and put this there for themselves. Clearly, you never want to share your private key, so this file is something you would want to keep to yourself and not show anybody. But we should be able to post from this to the Nostr network, and we're going to try that soon. I'm probably going to try and post it from my actual account, so I'm going to have to hide this at some point. But just know that that's where this file is. If we do pwd, it's in we'll do messages so we can see it. User cam.config nostr.nvim, and it's called keys.json. That's this file. And that's the first function that we wrote with the Node client. If anyone has any like specific questions about anything, you can ask them and I'll try to answer them. V0 is pretty cool. It's from Vercel, and you can generate UI with prompts. All right, maybe I'll check that out. Theme of my terminal? I have no idea. I still hate AI, but there's some pretty cool projects related. Yeah, it's going to become ubiquitous in my mind. I don't think we're getting away from AI anytime soon. You're going to have to get the Elon Musk brain chip soon. Probably answer, but what font are you using? Mona Lisa, Mac OS. Yeah, we're using this until I can switch over to Asahi Linux. So my original idea was that I was going to be streaming from Asahi Linux, but for now we're going to be doing Mac OS until Asahi Linux is ready for me to stream from it. Every OS is great except for Windows. Yeah, Windows is pretty garbage. I definitely couldn't, well, I know I couldn't be doing any of this from Windows. Like, it just wouldn't even work. So, you know. Also, if you haven't left a thumbs up and you're here, you should, consider doing that. But I think we have more thumbs up than we have people watching. But even still. Let's see. So, all right, that's the first thing. Now we have generate keys here. So let's add another function. So let's do, what is this? Is this the same thing? Yeah. Let's get rid of this. We'll do tab, and I think we want to, do they have like a close one here? Probably could just close it like this. Yeah, just close it like that. I don't know if I had a special way for closing them or if it would screw anything up, but yeah, that's fine. So, okay, we're just going to have two tabs, and we're going to use the first tab to develop in Lua. We're going to use the second tab to develop in JavaScript. So now we have this. I'm going to bring back those other functions here. So this is adding a relay. This is registering a function, removing a relay. This is listing relays, and that's setting the active relay. So I think the next thing we're going to want to be able to do is to add a relay. Now this calls the relay manager. So we're going to do that. And so now we have a new function here called Nostr add relay, and then we also have the relay manager here, which is another library that I wrote, which honestly is a little bit complicated, but not too bad. But I'm going to have to work on this a little bit, I think, because Nostr can get a little bit confusing. So let's see now. We have this here. What are you complaining about? It probably wants me to do like the export thing. I hate that. I gotta find a way to get this to not complain about that anymore. Okay, that's the relays path. Yep. All right. So let's do that. And we're just going to implement the logic for adding a relay to, I guess, what was I doing here before? All right, let's load relays, add a relay. Okay. I guess I was confused about why this was this URL thing was an array, but that's fine. Looks like we are going to write to the relays path, and the relays path is this. Where is it at? Okay, .config Nostr. Okay, so we're going to put this in relays.json. Where is this? 1 second. Yeah, add relay. We're going to put it in relays.json. And then we have plugin command and relay added, and that's it. Okay, so we should be able to just add this relay to the JSON file. And that's basically all we want to do, I guess. So let's take a look here. I think we should be mostly good. But let's go over here. And we're going to want to keep an eye on this file here. So we should see a second function show up. But if there's an error or something, then we'll see no function show up, which would not be good. Then we're going to have to troubleshoot what the problems are. So we're going to do update remote plugins. All right, there we go. Now we have a second function, and it's called Nostr add relay of type function and with no options. I don't know what this options thing is, but yeah. Okay, so that's good. That works. And we want to be able to add some relays. So this is going to have to take in some value. And so it's add relay where we put a URL, and then I guess we always have to pass the plugin because we're going to be running plugin commands here. So if we go back to index and go over here, okay, so we have a function. It's called Nostr add relay, and it takes an argument. So this one is URL. See, this one took no argument. So we're going to have to pass it a URL, and then it's going to pop it in that JSON file for us. So let's do that. Why are you not using TypeScript? The life would be easy. The reason I'm not using TypeScript for this is just because, I don't know, I just don't feel like it, I guess. At some point, I probably will at some point convert all of this over to TypeScript. The library does come with types, and it probably would be useful. I'm no stranger to TypeScript, so I know enough about TypeScript to do that. It's just that right now I'm just kind of just moving fast and breaking things, so I'm going to do it in JavaScript. It's not really that big of a project either, so this project, I don't expect that it's going to get it's not going to be like a whole full stack application or anything like that. Like, the biggest file in this entire thing is going to be the relay manager, and it's probably only going to be like a little over 100 lines long, so it's not complicated enough for me to justify like the extra looking at characters and types and fiddling around with types and stuff like that right now. It's like, if it was a bigger project and more confusing, I definitely would have immediately reached for TypeScript. How does this differ from something like the Matrix protocol? Okay, yeah, so basically, as far as I understand, the Matrix protocol is federated. And the reason that I don't necessarily support like federated systems is because they essentially, you sign up and you essentially like have a landlord, right? On a federated system, you have like, you show up to some particular group, and then you get your name through that group. And I'm pretty sure that you can get, your account can get nuked. I'm almost positive a way where like you can kind of be shut out, or you can get your account destroyed on a particular server, or you won't have access to it anymore. The nice thing about Nostr is that you control your public and private key, and because it's just a public and private key, and there's just relays, people can follow you anywhere at any time, and on any relay. So you can post from any relay you want, unless a relay bans you. But say a relay does ban you, it's not as severe as a server banning you, because then somebody else, you can just broadcast to people like, hey, this relay banned me, I'm going to be on this other relay. And you'll still have all of your data, likely, which you can keep yourself. And then you're still going to have your identity, and you're still going to have all of your followers and stuff like that. So that's my thinking. Yeah, but I'm not going to be in Chrome DevTools anyway for this. If it was like a site, like for instance, like Blogstack is like the other websites that I've written for Nostr. Like Blogstack's in TypeScript, and so is Notepin. So is, I think I wrote this in TypeScript as well. Yeah, the NodeTech site's in TypeScript. What else is in TypeScript? We were writing Hacker News in TypeScript. Yeah, and then when I was doing the tutorial, I was also writing that in TypeScript. So typically, I get it. Listen, I do most things in TypeScript. I just didn't feel like it this time around. If your identity is tied to something else than just your keys, you're always some kind of dependent. Yeah, exactly. Any opinions on TypeScript versus JS doc? I think it depends. I think, yeah, it just depends. JS doc can look kind of ugly, like that I have to put it on top of all of, like, it's hard to say. I don't really have like a strong opinion. I think that they both have their pros and cons. I think in another world where I haven't used so much I haven't used so many types, like, because like, for the past 4 years, most of the work I've done has been in like a typed language. Like, I've written a good amount of C++, I've written a good amount of a ton of Java, and like they're always typed, right? So like I just have types in my mind, like I just get types, right? Versus JSDoc, which is like just this big. JSDoc will probably be really good with like AI because like you can easily annotate it on top and just say like, this function, here's what it returns, and blah 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 blah, and like it can still be used like your editor can still catch errors and still know what kind of types it returns and all that kind of stuff without you actually having to explicitly add it to the code. I don't know. I'd say there's pros and cons. I think in another life where I haven't worked with so much typed code in the past, then I would probably prefer JSDoc. But as it stands right now, I think I still, if I'm not writing a library or something, I think I still prefer TypeScript. Do you think Asahi will ever be as polished as OS X? No. I don't think so. But once it gets to a certain base level, I don't really care. I'll be on Asahi Linux all the time. Awesome to see you streaming. Thank you. Glad you showed up. That makes sense. Coming more from the untyped world, and TypeScript always feels more like overhead. JSDocs feels simpler. Yeah, like if you wrote a lot of like Python and you've been writing a lot of JavaScript without TypeScript, like okay, if you've always been writing JavaScript and you've never written any TypeScript, then JSDoc is going to be awesome, right? It's just going to be a great thing you can add. You're just going to be like, wow, this is great, like add it on top. But like if you come from Java like me, like 90% of the code you've written in your life is Java, then like TypeScript is going to feel more like home than JSDoc. You know what I'm saying? Especially like, and if you come from Python and you've had like duck typing and stuff like that, then like, duck typing and Python it's going to feel like kind of more like JSDoc. It's going to work better with your mind. But, well, actually, duck typing, it's probably more like TypeScript, I guess, than is like JSDoc. But, like, if you come from Python and I guess you heavily use the those triple quoted documentation strings and stuff like that, I don't know. What's your opinions on Blazor, WebAssembly? I don't have many opinions on that. I haven't worked a lot with WebAssembly. Coming from actually from Python. Yeah. Nice Arch theme. It's not an Arch theme this time around. I do have Arch on Asahi Linux, even though I think they moved over to Fedora. So I'm like, shit, like I installed the version of Asahi Linux with Arch, and then like that's not the one they support anymore, and they're moving over to Fedora or something like that. And hopefully it still like gets updates and all works fine. But I might actually have to eventually maybe switch over to their Fedora distribution. I don't know if it's going to be more polished or nicer or whatever, but we'll see how that goes. Eventually, I will be using Asahi Linux on this, but for now, we're just going to be using Mac OS until that's the case. Let's see. So anyway, we have relays.push URL. This, we're going to want to pass that to that, so we're going to want to add something there. We're going to just copy this function here, we'll do it like that. Instead of this, we're going to do add, what did we call it in the relay? Let's jump back here a second. Add relay, okay, so we're just going to say add relay. Add relay, like that. And then we do Nostr, add relay. And we got to pass this something, which means that I'm going to need to pass something in here, which is going to be the URL. And then we're going to pass the URL down through there. And then instead of this, we're going to do, like something like relay added, as long as I guess that works. And in the future, I'll do like P calls just so like, we can catch errors and stuff like that. But for now, I just want everything to look simple. So we need to pass this relay through, but this is just a function that we're going to be providing to the user. So then we're going to go to where we're calling the API, right here. And I kind of want to do something like, I only have so many keys I can press. I want to like think of a way that I can do this without it being like painful, I guess. For now, I guess we'll just keep hijacking the control N. and we'll just do it that way. So, okay, we have generate keys. Instead of that, we're going to do add relay, like that. All right. And this needs to take in an argument. What is this? I hate that. That's from Noise as far as I understand, and that shit drives me absolutely bonkers. I hate that that shows up immediately. It's just like, oh yeah, that's perfect. Just like right over top of where I want to write, like type my code. And I don't know how to turn it off. Let me see if I get a noise. Pop up maybe, command palette, bottom search, auto open, signature. See, I have it enabled false. Auto open false. False. What the fuck? False. Maybe that'll help. Okay. What's the problem? Get signs. What? You gotta be kidding me. Get signs. Okay, everything seems to have like broken for like no reason, just from changing noise. Why is that the case? Attempt to index a nil value. Neo get. What the hell is happening? Let's do. A second. Let's do lazy. And we're just gonna run a sync, maybe. Maybe that will fix things. Nope. Buff read, auto commands, LSP config manager. What? See, the problem is that I'm not going to be able to write code that uses what you call it. What the heck happened? All right, who did this? Top status bar, yeah. Have you thought about automating the installation of your Asahi Linux install? No, I haven't really thought that much about that yet. Yeah, right now I am, until I can get Asahi working. What's this for? Is this going to be a Nostr client for Neovim? Eventually it might turn into that, but basically it's just going to be essentially tools that a developer can use from inside Neovim, and then it'll also be a base that other plugins can build on top of. So like if you can add relays, you can do all this kind of stuff, well then another plugin can make use of these functions and not have to like rewrite all of that code. So they can just pull it in as a library, and then like you could actually post from Neovim, or you could read different things from Neovim or something like that. Anyway, let's go back over here. I'm not really sure what the hell will happen though. Something just exploded in my face with this, and this is like, I guess, what I get for trying to develop on Neovim right now. What is the problem? LSP config, no such file or directory. What? LSP manager, file type.lua. Yeah, that's a shame. Because if I can't get the LSP working, like I have in the other ones, I guess I could just try to develop from the instance. Nah, because I need to be able to open and close this all the time to like test shit out. Let's see, LSP config, LSP settings. Maybe it'd be under Mason. Okay, like there I'm cool, and then as soon as I do that, it's beat. And the problem is inside of some file type nonsense with LSP config. So let's do, we can also try like lazy, do something like, nah, that all should be fine. I'm just gonna try to sync it again. If not, we'll just roll that back. So let's do nvim, let's do lsp config like this, and then let's do, we'll just go to like an older commit maybe. Let's do 11 hours ago. Who knows? Let's grab this one. It's from days ago, and we just had this working, so it would make sense that that would work. Do this. Update. Okay, we got the old one. Still broken. Let's do nvim flag version. Let's do brew install Neovim. Let's see if we can use what? The hell are you talking about? Brew install Neovim. Maybe we'll just use a different version. We'll just use 9.2. Maybe it'll be more stable. Nvim version. Yeah, now we're using 9.2, I guess. There we go. Who knows? You got the LSP working? Alright, LSP's working. It's just something with the newer version, I guess. Probably don't have to even pin this commit. I'm just going to stay on 9.2. Yeah, we're good to go. Interesting. Let's bring back this and this. I can't wait till 1.0 comes out, man. It just drives me nuts sometimes. Dealing with all this nonsense. Alright, now we're good to go. All I did was turn off like the signatures and noise, and it's just like, yeah, alright, well, I'm going to explode and ruin your stream. Are you not using Linux anymore? Yeah, I am. I'm just, for a little bit, I'm going to be using this until Asahi Linux works. You, too much plugins are new, too much bloated. Yeah, it's fine. He went to the dark, yeah. I don't know why your Neovim is giving so many weird errors. In my case, it only happens in one plugin, that's all. Actually, installing nvim from brew is not recommended by nvim devs. Well, I just wanted to do that really fast, because the, you know, I later on, I'll fix it. I usually install it from source, but like that's how I have the other one installed, but I was dealing with that issue. So let's do Nostr add relay, and we're going to pass it this URL here, and we can finally get back to working on this. So now let's do Nostr like this. All right. And we're going to need to pass it a URL. So to start, and that stupid thing is still, oh, you know what though? Let's see if we open this and go like that. And we'll just do it like this. It's still doing that shit. Let's do it like this. Get rid of that for now, I guess. And then we're going to go back to Nostr. And we'll do this. All right, no more nonsense. So what we want to do is we want to put it in like this, and we're going to need a URL for one. So let's go see if we can grab one maybe from Damus. I don't know if they have like a thing. This is the edit. Okay. I was kind of hoping I'd be able to change my relays from here, but I guess I can't. So I'll just look them up. You know where we can go? We can go for the code for BlogStack, I guess. And then we're going to look at app. We're going to look at lib, I think. Constants. And we'll do this one here. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to automatically add this. In the future, I'll allow like a user to type this in, but for now, we're just going to like hard code that. And let's see here. Why did you make this launch NVim? Is it based on LunarVim? Why is your name? They put that automatically. So like, if you go in here, it's not actually that. It's just what they put. I could put like Christian and really. And we'll do a save there. There we go. But yeah, I guess I'll be posting from this account more. I got to find some. I have to find interesting things to post. No, I haven't checked this out. I'll have to check it out soon. I made this because under LunarVim, I usually have like LunarVim, and then I usually have like from scratch kind of config. Like I try to keep both on there so that people have the option to kind of look between the two, so they're not like super confused looking at LunarVim's code base, and they can look at the config that I have over there, and they can still kind of like do things from scratch. Yeah, just a placeholder. All right, so now we have that. We have Nostr add relay with the URL there. Let's not use this one. Let's. I think we need to have like 3 of these open. I think that'll be easiest. So we'll do like this here. So here is where we'll edit that. Here's where we'll edit this, and here is where we'll test. So we'll do Control N. It says relay added. So let's go see if that actually worked. So add relay ren because it said relay added. And let's just, we'll take this one. No. We'll take this one and pop that there. And now we have relays, and now we have relays, and we have the Nostr pub wellorder.net there in our relays. So I think adding seems to work pretty good. So that's good. They use the Bitcoin author as a placeholder? Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the people in the Nostr community are Bitcoin people. So they're all like in that same space. That's why like on Nostr you can use the Lightning Network to essentially like, you know, send people money or zap people as they, you know, call it. So that's, you know, their John Doe is typically always going to be Satoshi Nakamoto. Anyway, so we have our add relay now. That seems to work. So let's try to add another relay. Let's add one like the snort one here. Actually, we'll add Damus because I'm pretty sure these ones aren't paid. That, paste. Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll come over here. We'll run that again. It says relay added. Come over here, and there we go. Okay. So that seems to work. Now we're going to want to be able to remove a relay. So we will uncomment this code here, and we'll do Nostr remove relay. It's going to be the same thing with the URL. And maybe in the future we'll do it like by number, and then like I'll like display all of them, and you can say if you want to remove like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Maybe we'll do it by URL. I don't know, but for now we'll just do it by URL. Probably by URL makes sense the most. Yeah, because like I could still write code on top that would allow you to choose a number and then still pass the underlying URL to this function here. So that's what makes sense. Got to use tmux. I don't like using tmux. I like to use like separate workspaces for my things. With Tmux, I feel like everything gets too cramped. So like, I don't know. Everybody has like the flow, I guess, that they like, but I'm not too big on Tmux. I like Neovim tabs. So like, for instance, if I'm working, where's the one that I had? I thought I had tabs open in one of these. I thought it was this one. But anyway, I'll create a tab here. And we'll jump up there. We'll do this. So I like Neovim tabs to move between things. And then I like workspaces to move between like things that I'm actually working on. I don't know, it just works better in my head. Maybe if I had like a massive monitor, then like Tmux would make sense for me. But then again, I don't think it would be as easy to see too while I'm developing. Like to display, I guess. Okay, we have all that. We have add relay. So now we're going to want to create another one here. It's going to be like the same thing. It's going to be remove relay, like that. And I think it's called remove. What do we have there? Remove relay, yep. Nostr remove relay. Relay removed, like that. Okay. Remove relay by the URL. There we go. So now if we go take a look at this, over here, we're probably going to end up removing, well, we'll remove this one, the Damus one. So now let's go like this. We'll do remove. I can't spell. Remove relay by the URL. Come back over here. We're going to want to do update remote plugins. And now we're going to want to look to make sure that that was added. Yep. So now we have another one for Nostr remove relay. Why do you guys delete comments? What's your problem? I don't know who's deleting comments. I'm surprised. Because I'm not seeing like comment deleted anywhere. So I'm confused as to how that's working. I don't think anyone's deleting the comments because I think I would see like comment removed by moderator, like on my thing, you know? Check ZellaJ. Oh yeah, I've seen ZellaJ. The problem is with anything like ZellaJ or anything like that is like that I'm going to be splitting up the window. And whenever I split up I don't know, whenever I do that, I just feel like I'm losing real estate. What I could do to kind of like put things kind of more in place is I could open up like a project. Whoops. I think P opens up projects. I have something that should open up a project. Maybe it was Control P. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, what I'll do is I'll do something like, I'll just add another tab. The heck. Okay, so this is another tab. And then we'll just do like this, and we'll open up nvim in here, and we'll look for Nostr.lua. Let me just make sure that this is the right one. Yep. Okay. So now we could just move between, what the hell? Now we can just move between them like this. Like the different projects inside of one thing, and then that way I can get rid of this one. We could do the same thing with this R plugin. We could open it up in another tab, but I feel like that's fine to keep in its own thing. And then now this one, we'll get rid of this. And we'll just leave that one there, just to make sure that that's happening correctly. Or we could put that one next to this. Yeah, let's do that. Put that there and that over on the other side. What the heck? I can't move it over there for some reason. Why can't I snap it? You're too good to be snapped? Well, then you get out of here and I'll get a different one. Local, share, nvim, R plugin. Okay, there we go. So now we can come here and we can look at these. And then we have the tabs here for these. And then here's where we'll do our testing. I didn't use anything offensive or link, but maybe it's a problem on my side. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know, because you definitely would see it here. You would definitely see, like, removed by, like, definitely on, like, my side, you would definitely see, like, removed by moderator. And you can see that that's not there. So, Nostr, yeah. Glad a few people who actually know what Nostr is are actually showing up. Same thing with tmux sessions in Windows, but if you have it, yeah. I think it kind of works for me. Sometimes anytime I use like a new strategy for these things, it can begin to just confuse the shit out of me. So, did you use Vim for Java at work? Shit seems impossible, but I'd love to be able to. Yeah, it was a huge pain in the ass, but it can be done. You're gonna have to put a lot of work into it though. Which Nostr client you like best? Right now, I think the one that I've mostly done stuff with is Damus. So I would, I guess, recommend Damus. I think, yeah, I have like 177 followers on here. I don't know how much of that's spam, but it's pretty cool. See if we can click on someone else's thing, like Fiat Jaffs. Oh no, the highlighter extension doesn't work. Diogenes in search of a Nostr client that works correctly. Well, the problem is, I feel like it's just confusing to know what correctly means for a Nostr client. Like, I never know if, like, you want to be able to use, like, specific relays to read from, or if you want to read from, like, a bunch of relays, or, like, how this shit's supposed to be, like, working. But anyway, yeah. So this is probably my favorite client that I've used so far. But there's other decent ones, like Snort's pretty good. I used Astral.ninja in the beginning, but I feel like that one has some performance issues. Or at least the last time I used it, it did. I don't go to work anymore. I have no more work. Can I use Lunarvim for Java? Yeah, you should be able to. Make your own relays? Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I like Damus. But yeah, the problem is with client. Do I have a connection right now? What happened? Am I back? I think my internet went out for like a half a second. Let me check. I'm back. I was gone. I was down for a second. Okay, that's fine. All right. Yeah. Anyway, so what I'm talking about is with BlogStack. Like BlogStack, you can choose which one you're reading from, right? Which I really, I like that, but it adds a layer of complexity, to the application. Whereas like Damus, and like I remember when I was doing the design thing and I was taking a look at like what Fiat Jaff was asking for, and he's like, I want the relays to be front and center, and I'm like, all right, I will put the relays front and center then, and then and this was the best way I could think to personally do it, but then I've seen other ones like try to hide it. Like if you go to habla.news, I don't know how much development's happened here lately. Probably a lot. But I remember here, I'm not seeing like their relays front and center, right? So here, I don't really see that, which I don't know if that's good or that's bad. I don't know how exactly this should be done. I feel like everybody's kind of still just feeling it out, I guess. I guess maybe click on this. Okay, the relays are here. Maybe that's a good way to do it. But then there's all. Because I feel like all is like... That can also get confusing when you actually want to like display things. like reading from a lot of different databases at once, and especially over WebSockets too, like, I don't know, it can all get very complicated very fast. But we'll think of something. I'm sure eventually someone will come up with the best way to do it. Or maybe there isn't a best way to do it, and people will just be trying out different things all the time. Trying to figure out which user. I'll put my npub. There you go. Go to sleep. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll probably be here tomorrow. But yeah, that's the npub if you guys want to follow me over on Nostr. All right, so now we want to make sure we can remove. So we have relays here, and we have this relay, and we have this relay. We want to kill this relay. So let's go to the code here. And this is going to be remove relay, relay.domus.io. So let's now let's go over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to close this, reopen it. We're going to run update remote plugins. All right. Just make sure everything's okay. We're going to do Control N, and it says relay removed. Let's find out if that actually worked. I don't think it worked. No, it didn't. All right. Well, we can take a look at that, I guess. See if we can fix it. This is the first problem that we're having. So we have remove relay, and Nostr remove relay. It actually does call the correct function. Let's go over here. We have generate keys, and then we're doing remove relay for the URL. Jump over here. And we're just filtering it. So we're saying, okay, relays.filter the relay. Okay, we may need to do the URL 0. May need to do that, like how we did over there. Whoops. What are you doing? Like that. That might solve it right away. So now let's get out of here. Whoops. Okay, and now we'll do update remote plugins again. Let's make sure that that actually is still cool. All right. And let's jump back over here. And now we'll do Control N again. It says relay removed. There we go. Okay, for some reason you have to specify the first. I am totally confused about that, but whatever. I don't know why it's not just passing it as a string. I'm pretty sure when I was developing on this before, yeah, I'm even saying like hack, no idea why this is an array. But I'm pretty sure when I was developing on this before, I had a similar problem. But I remember that like I would pass the URL. How am I doing this? I'm doing it. I'm just pulling it like that there. Yeah, I want to be consistent. Oh, no. Okay, yeah. I pull it in normal and then... Yeah, like this validates the relay. And I think that like works. And then like this doesn't. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Maybe, you know what? There's no way this is working correctly then. But whatever it is, we can now remove a relay. Now we want to be able to list relays. This one should just work too, hopefully. Why do you use barbecue instead of Navic? Why do you use barbecue instead of only Navic? I don't use barbecue. I use Navic. So if you go and look, Navic. See, I use Navic. I don't even know what's barbecue. I don't know what barbecue is. I'm assuming that's another Neovim plugin that does something similar to this stuff up here. I also like that with this I can do, what is it? What do I have it for? One of these buttons does it. Nav, yeah. So I like how I can do this too and like jump to a particular thing that I'm looking for. So if I want to go into like the I don't know, like depth limit, like it'll take me to that, right? So like if you're in something like a big object or like a big JSON object or something like that, you can just jump in here and you can like cut through it pretty fast and find what you're looking for pretty fast. So I like that navigation thing that comes with Navic. That's why I use Navic, because I like being able to use that nav buddy thing along with it. And I also like to see like the context that I'm in while I'm writing code, because like this function's obviously small, but sometimes you'll be in a lot bigger files and functions where having this is very, very useful. And then definitely having that nav buddy thing is useful as well. So, okay, now we're going to do list relays. This new line I know is very, very, very important. Okay. So let's do this. Okay. Okay, we got list relays. We're going to want to add that code here. So we'll just grab this. R list relays like that. Nostr list relays. And for this, I think we actually are going to want to do something. It depends if I'm listing them here. Okay, so this outrights it. Yeah, so potentially that should work. We could just put like a notification anyway, just making sure that it did work. Relays listed. Something like that, I don't know. And so we have Nostr list relays. So if we run over here again and we go and take a look at index, then it should be called Nostr. What the hell? We got add, generate keys, add, remove. Okay, list relays. And we'll just uncomment that. Do a format, Nostr list relays. And did I spell that correctly? I think I did. So now let's jump back over here. Reopen this and we'll do update remote plugins. Come over here, and Nostr list relays is among the functions we can call now, so that should work. So now let's do, we're going to need to add that function though. Cut enter this. I don't know why that's still doing that. List relays like that. Okay. And now we'll come back over here. Control N. There we go. So listing the relays seems to work. It returns it in a list, in a Lua list too, which is, well, actually no. No, that's going to be a JSON object there. Yeah, that's a JSON object for sure. So I would, I think, like to get that list back in Lua. So I would like access to that list. So let's see if we can do that. List relays, it returns that. Okay. And so let's see what happens if, because right now we're printing it from there. But maybe what we want to do instead of that. Okay, it just does that. It returns relays.relays. Or we're just stringifying just relays there. Let's not do that. Let's just return the relays. And then let's do, we'll do relays. Can't type for some reason. Relays is equal to, we'll do local. Local relays is equal to that. And what we'll do is we'll do print relays like this. Hopefully that works. It shouldn't be taking in a URL. I'm surprised that actually still worked. Yeah, it doesn't take any arguments. Oops. So we don't have to pass it anything like that. And then it doesn't take anything. So we should be good to go there. let's see here. Open this up again, update remote plugins. Control N. Okay, now it just says relays listed and it returns a 0. So that's not good news. Might be because it's async. Try that again. Okay, we got a table back that time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do vim.inspect. Like that. There we go. All right, so we got the value back. So we just had to make it synchronous. Otherwise, we're just going to get that 0, and that's not going to work out for us. So now we actually can use this value, and we can actually use it inside of our Lua code. So that's good. Let's see here. List relays, and then we have something called show notes here. That's probably going to be actually when we implement that real logic. And this is going to set an active relay that we're going to use. So right now we have active as null, so we're actually going to want to set that to something. So now we have Nostr set active relay. It's going to take in a particular URL, and then it's going to say relay manager, set that relay to active. So now let's do that then. So we'll do this, we'll do update remote plugins, make sure that shows up over here, it does. And what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, and we'll just grab a function. Set active relay, and we want to get the function that we're doing here. Okay, we'll take that and we'll pop that in there. So we'll choose a particular URL and we'll say relay, say we will do like URL dot set active. All right, so that does that, and then we'll jump back over here and we'll do this. That's list relays. This is a set. What was this? Set active relay. Word yank. Set active relay, and then we're going to want to pass it the same thing as is in here. So we'll do that, and that should be it. So do Control N. Invalid relay URL. Interesting. Now, oh, you know what? It's probably not in the list because we chose the Damus one. So maybe we'll, this is why I wish I had something. I might do this with which key, because with which key, then I can kind of like change this to be what I want. Yeah, we're probably going to have to do that. Let me jump over to which key. I think I have something with navbuddy here. Instead of N, I'm going to just change this to O so we can use this for that. Really, this should be spread out across other ones, but it is what it is. So now let's just grab one that's small and simple, something like this. And we will, whoops, something like that, yeah. Pop that there, we'll do N. This, we'll do Nostr, like that. And we'll just go like this, get rid of all these. And now we'll come over here to, oh well, all the functions are there. Take these, jump back over here, we'll comment that one out. Now we'll do one for keys. We'll do one for, and let's just do delete enter this, delete enter that. This one be generate keys. This one will be add relay. Add relay. This one will be remove relay, so maybe that'll be, we'll do R, I guess. Remove relay. We'll do list relays. List relays. And then we'll do set active relay. Do we already have an A? Yeah, I guess we'll do S for set active relay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. All right, and then we'll just do, come over here, whoops, yank enter that. We'll paste that in there. The problem is that we're gonna need to change these to single quotes. So let's do like this, single quote. I don't know why I cut. Yank enter that. Whoops. There we go. Enter this. Come down here. Paste that. Yank enter this. And yank enter this. Okay, so now we should be able to just do this, and then we can still run all of the functions that we want to run. We're still going to hard code some of these, but now I'll be able to add it a lot easier, so that'll be fine. So let's do that now, and we'll do space, N, add a relay. It says the relay was added, there it is. And now we'll do space, N, and now we'll set the active relay. And there it is. Okay, cool. So that's good. Let me see here. Now that we have all of the basic things for just, I guess, getting relays, adding them, removing them, listing them, and setting a particularly active one, then we now probably can start to work with it a little bit and actually post things. What exactly am I doing here? It depends. So that I can better answer that question for you, are you familiar with Neovim or Nostr? And are you familiar with the Neovim node client? And then maybe I can explain it from whatever vantage point you're looking in at. Or you could, I guess, just ask me, okay, you're familiar with Neovim and Node? All right. So basically, well, that's, I guess I'll explain some of the Node client stuff too. So basically what I'm doing, no, I don't need Nostr / the node client. I don't know Nostr / the node client. Okay, so you just know Neovim, and you don't know the node client, and you don't know Nostr. Okay, so basically, the node client, what it allows you to do So we'll take a look over here. So I have a project, and I'll just open it up really quick here. All right. So you can see, and we'll go over to GitHub too, because maybe that'll help me explain this. Just to look at it on the repo, it'll probably be a little bit easier. All right, so I have a Neovim plugin. It's called Nostr.nvim, right? And it is written in JavaScript, right? So typically when you're writing Neovim plugins, you want to write them in Lua, right? Or maybe in Vim script, right? But typically you're going to be writing it in Lua. Now, Neovim has a way where you can use the Node client to essentially bridge your JavaScript code to Lua, right? So now we can use, you don't even really need the Lua at all, actually, but I'm also using that. But anyway, so we can write a plugin for Neovim in JavaScript. That's the idea, right? So why would you want to do that? For instance, in this case, there is a JavaScript library that I want to use, okay? And it's called Nostr Tools. The only way that I'd be able to do, and you can black box Nostr for now, I'll explain that in a second, but the only way that I'd be able to use Nostr Tools inside of Neovim is to either, be able to use JavaScript inside of Neovim, or B, rewrite it completely in Lua, or maybe Vim script, right? So instead of rewriting it completely in Lua, I'm using the Neovim node client so that I can actually make calls from Neovim to this library. So I can use this library inside of Neovim for a plugin, essentially. Now, what does this do? Essentially, Nostr is like a social media protocol. Kind of like a social media protocol, but not really. It's kind of like just, well, you can think of it like that. Let's say that. It's a social media protocol where you can see it's kind of like Twitter in this case, right? So you can kind of see that I'm posting things from Nostr here. But the nice thing about it is that you can use two different clients and they'll have the exact same data. So when we're looking at BlogStack, which is a website that I made with Nostr a while ago, you can, see blogs on here, right? So like a blog post like this here, this food from somewhere, and this is a blog post, right? And then also that is on habla.news. So we have habla.news and we have BlogStack, and they have the exact same blog post. So now this is akin to, imagine that you're using Medium and Substack, and everything that you post on Medium would be posted on Substack, or everything that you post on Twitter would be posted on Facebook, right? So this essentially lets us keep all of the data kind of accessible to a bunch of different clients. And so now you just write a new skin for the data, and then users can interact with all the same data, but through whatever client they want to use. And there's also a concept of relays and all this stuff lower down, which essentially allows everything to be more censorship resistant, more decentralized, this kind of thing. It's not like blockchain or anything like that. There's no some people get this mixed up with crypto or something like that, but there's really no crypto here other than just a public-private key pair you use as a username. But there's no Ethereum or smart contracts or any of that stuff. I don't know why people typically get that mixed up though. It's more like Matrix. It's more like Blue Sky. It's more like, let me see here. Yeah, actually, yeah, it's more like ActivityPub, that kind of thing too, right? So it's more like a protocol like that. Now, the reason I'm writing this for Neovim is because when I was developing on it before, I'm I wanted to be able to test out relays directly from my editor, just so I don't have to write code to test them out in my client, right? So sometimes I'm just did that thing get posted? Well, now I got to go write the code in my client to make sure that it got posted because I don't have any dev tools inside my editor, right? So, or maybe you're just writing the code to read things, but you're now I got to go find another client to post it from or whatever, right? So what I want to be able to do is from my editor, I just want to be able to post something, or I just want to be able to read something, or I want to be able to connect to a relay and make sure that it works or something like that, right? And then in the future, what you'll be able to do is you'll just be in Neovim, and then maybe you just want to like send a message out. You want to tweet just from like, you just be like writing code or whatever. You'll think of something. You'll be like, I don't really feel like opening up Twitter. I don't really feel like whatever. I can just literally tweet from right here. I can just go, write a message like blah, blah, blah. And then I can just post it up, and then it'll just be posted to pretty much all of the different clients, whatever. Now, another cool thing is too, imagine you want to write a blog and you don't want to like show up to Medium and then just like write your whole blog on Medium in their editor and all that stuff. You want to write a markdown blog directly inside of Neovim, and then you just want to post it directly from there. So you can imagine that like you open up some markdown like this, and then you're just like, okay, I wrote a blog here. I just want to post it. Like I just want to post it out to my social network, and that's it. Well, you'll just be able to like just do like post blog like this. And then boom, it'll be out there on Nostr. And now you don't need to use some third-party editor or anything like that. You can just do it from directly within Neovim. So the first thing I'm doing is I am going to be writing some developer tools just to make it easier for me to develop clients, like BlogStack, for instance, which was the first client that I developed. Well, actually, this is the second client that I developed. The other one that I developed is on Vercel. Here you can kind of see some of the stuff I've been doing on that one over on Notebin. And this is kind of like a Pastebin alternative and like a gist alternative. So it's like GitHub gists and Pastebin all in one. So this is how it looks now, and I'm going to be working on this in the future. Right now it's not super functional, and this is like my test app thing for it. But you'll be able to post code snippets from Neovim too. So you'll be able to do something like, I'll show you the current Notebin, notebin.org. So you can go here, and then you can go see these code snippets on this other website that I made. And so someone like posts a code snippet or something, right? They didn't put a language with that one. I would rather them put a language so that we can see like the cool syntax highlighting and stuff. Yeah, here we go. So someone posts this, right? And there's just like, I want to post up like a little snippet or something like that. Well, you can post that directly from Neovim. So if you have some code snippet you want to share with somebody, you can just post it, boom, just from Neovim. It'll be up here on Notebin. It'll give you the note ID right here, and you can just send that to somebody. You could even send it from your Neovim instance to someone else's Neovim instance, right? You could just send them this note ID, and then they could pull it right in, and then just boom, they have the code right in their editor, right? And you probably could get way more fancy and advanced with this stuff too. Since this happens over WebSocket, I mean, you could probably even do collaborative editing on Neovim with this, which would be kind of neat. So this is what I'm working on. Right now, it's just going to be kind of small. I am in a hackathon for this, though. I don't expect to win the hackathon for this, but it'll be just like a cool submission, and it'll just kind of, be kind of interesting. Maybe I'll be able to get some other developers to like help me work on some of this stuff in the future. Let's see. So yeah, hopefully that helps. It sounds just like a REST API, which I could consume from different front ends. Yes, but it's actually over WebSockets. I finally created my own config after a year using Neovim. That's good. I still don't know how to know what to use for note taking on Neovim. You should I use Marksman. So I actually have a Medium blog, so you do Chris, and I have it for Lunarvim, but you can do the same thing. Chris at Machine Medium. So you can look at a Medium article that I wrote about this. Check this out, Marksman. So this is for Lunarvim, but the same thing. It's going to all be the same thing basically for a regular Neovim, right? So I would recommend checking this out and doing your notes this way because I think it's really cool. In Nostr, can you edit posts? Yes. The Soapbox creator is working on a way to connect ActivityPub and Nostr. It's called Moster. I find it interesting. Well, that sounds interesting, yeah. I don't know enough about ActivityPub. I know ActivityPub is, as far as I understand it, it's federated, so I have less interest in things that are like federated. Thanks, Christian Machine, for the insights. Never heard of Nostr. Cool that we can use JS and NVim. Yeah. I feel like very few people have actually taken advantage of that. Do you pay for Vercel? No. I'm hosting my portfolio, but I might have to pay if I want to put a project in it. I don't think I pay. Maybe I pay. I have no idea. You've been my mentor for getting into NVim for a few years, by the way. Keep up the great work. Yeah, I'll try to. I plan to make another series, hopefully a little more simpler to follow. If you want to check out some of the stuff that I've been working on with Neovim lately, and I'm glad you find my stuff helpful, then you can head over to the LunarVim org over here, and then you can check out the NVim Basic IDE, which I think I'm going to rebrand to Launch at some point. And you can go to Launchpad branch, the Launchpad branch. And this is the config that I'm using in this stream right now. So it's pretty cool. It does some neat stuff. It's not polished and done yet, but I think it's worth checking out if you're interested in working on your own config and stuff like that. Or if you want to get some ideas from another one. Let's see here. Where was I? What else we got? Read about Nostr. Sounds interesting with WebSockets. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think I should not get a wrench. Why not? What are you doing with it? That's bad. I just kind of give them out. So we developed a backend for a comp coding website using JS, and I did the whole backend in Neovim. Nice. But JS was probably my worst experience ever. We switched to Go and not going to go back to JS ever. Well, if they had a Go plugin, but also as far as I know, like I wanted to use Nostr tools, so that's why I'm using JS. Yeah. Technically, Nostr isn't federated because the contents are distributed in various ways, so this makes it essentially... Yes, yeah. Like ActivityPub, I think, is federated. So Nostr is definitely not federated because Nostr, you control, so when you generate a public and private key pair, like that's it. That's your identity on Nostr. So you have a public-private key pair. It's your identity on Nostr. That's the end of that. It doesn't matter which relay you show up to. That's your identity on it. Now, one particular relay may say you're not allowed to post or even read from my relay anymore, but that doesn't mean that you can't show up to another relay and your identity is still the exact same identity on that relay, meaning that if your followers find that relay that you're on, which could be many relays, because you could broadcast to like 1 million relays, technically, whatever, right? But anyway, you can broadcast to tons of different relays or your own relay that you personally spin up, right? And then clients can't even really, you could still, as long as clients are open about it, like if a good client is open about their stuff, you could go to like settings, and then you could put your own relay in the settings of that client and then see the information from that relay. So a client really is just a shell at the end of the day. All this data, you don't have to see any of these relays. You could just put your own personal relay. Now, if it's really cool, like BlogStack and other stuff that I'd like to develop it'll be open source. And then it'll be on GitHub. And so then all you have to do is you would just have to have Node installed on your machine. You could spin BlogStack up locally. Then you could just put in the relay that you want, and then you don't even need to go on a web browser or anything really. You have to use a web browser for to see the site, but you don't have to connect to blogstack.io. You could just spin this up. You could spin BlogStack up locally, connect to any relays that you want, never connect to our website, which is hosted via whatever. You can just host BlogStack on your own machine, on your own node at your house or whatever, and you can connect to any relays you want. And so now you don't have as much man in the middle kind of stuff, right? So we wouldn't even care, I wouldn't even care that you're doing that. I wouldn't even know that you're doing that. I wouldn't even know you were using the website, right? So this is kind of another interesting way to think about it. Still on Packer, have my own config thanks to your series, but now I have fully my own stuff. Nice. Yeah, I've been using Lazy. You're still on Packer, dude? You gotta get off Packer. I expect more out of you. You should be on Lazy by now. You should be trendy. JS was so slow. What the compiler API we used would fill up a queue because it could not clear fast enough. Interesting. I don't know. I don't really find JavaScript is that slow, but I guess compared to Go in certain situations, it probably gets smoked. The disadvantage is because it's distributed in various relays, you lost control on the reach of your content. Technically, nothing will disappear unless all the nodes are shut down. You might lose reach, but it depends. So, like, you got to think, like, if there's a highly censorship driven relay, I mean, I would actually expect less people to be on that relay rather than the relays which are. And if people are really looking for you and they like your stuff, most of the time, I would say that the thing people are married to is the UI. So, like, people want to continue using YouTube because of the brand and the UI and all these nice things. But, you know, maybe they want to see the videos they want to see from the relays they want to see them from. Well, say, for instance, you were married to the BlogStack UI or the Medium UI, right? Like, you don't want to get off this particular UI. Well, that's fine, because you can just show up in the settings and pop in your own relays, and there you go. So if you know someone got banned from the Damus relay, and you know they're still on the Nostr pub well order relay, you can still have the Damus relay if it still has other guys and people that you like, but like this one only has that like one guy that got banned. Well, then you can pull that in here, right? So I think it's better. Overall I think it really kind of solves the problem in general. I'm sure there's new problems that would arise, but I think in general this kind of solves those problems. Switch to lazy modules today. Chris commented about it on Discord. Nice, yeah. And my mother tongue, sorry for my grammar errors. It's no problem. It's instant with Packer. Didn't see any reason to switch yet. Oh yeah, I know, but look, there's no. If it works for you, I wouldn't worry about it. It's just kind of a meme. Like, you kind of have to keep up with things. The author of Packer does use lazy, as far as I know, and they don't develop on Packer anymore. This is why I would say probably it's a good idea to switch to lazy. If you want to delete some content, you can't. It's in the web forever. I refer to that. Yeah, that too. I mean, technically, you can't ever really. Like, if you go to delete something on the internet, you're not really going to be 100% sure that it was ever deleted anyway. So, you know, keep that in mind. Just because Facebook says they deleted something does not mean that they actually deleted something. But yeah, it's much harder to delete things on Nostr. So if you say something ridiculous on Nostr, or you upload, well, an image, it would only be something ridiculous you might say, because an image is still going to have to be hosted somewhere, unless you start hosting these images on relays or something. But then again, I mean, look, images are, if you upload an image and you don't take it down like fast, then it's going to be on the internet forever anyway. They developed lazy to fix Packers issues. Yeah, I don't know why Folka did it, but I mean, it seems to work really well. I don't think so. I thought Folka just developed lazy, and I don't even know, did he have any, I didn't know he had any communication with Packer. Here's this too. I guess that's a fork. Interesting. Yeah, but either way. So hopefully that explains what I'm doing here. Okay, so we have the show notes thing. What else do we got? We got this here. Let's go to which key just really quick. Nostr, yep. Now let's take a look at these. We have the set active relay there now, and now we have something called show notes. What does show notes do? I don't really know what show notes does. I don't really see where it's getting the text from. Okay, event string. This is events. Decode event string. Where the hell are you getting this from? Oh, you're passing it in somehow? How is that working? I don't know how that's working. We're going to need a function for that, I think. All right, so all of those work. Now's the hard part. where we need to publish. Okay, so we have some publish code. We have some connect code. We have listing relays. Okay, so we have an event here. Do I have some other code here? What do we have? Utils. That validates the relay string. We have index. That doesn't do anything around this. We have logger and we have keys. Okay, so from here, we're going to want to be able to publish. So I guess we'll publish before we read, because I can always just read it over here on Damus. I just got to make sure not to open up the keys thing. Too lazy to switch to lazy, that's fair. Tried oil.nvim. No, I'm using like some NetRW improved plugin though. The buffer line I'm using, it's actually not a buffer line. This is actually a legitimate tab line. So this is tabs. And I'll probably never use a buffer line ever again. But yeah, these are just tabs. And it's called Tabby. And to make it look like this, it's actually kind of a pain in the butt, but I don't recommend using a buffer line. I recommend if you want to move between buffers, I recommend doing it this way, like just opening it up in Telescope. But I almost never really think in buffers anymore. I don't really think about like, I don't know. Just, it's not really how I move between my code anymore. I usually, I'll usually open up like a couple things in here, and then like I'll just set up different tabs, and then maybe I'll put like a split in one of the tabs or something like that. And then sometimes I'll use like Harpoon too, so that if there's any time I want to like mark some particular file somewhere or some particular list of files, I'll end up just using Harpoon with it. But sometimes I will go through the buffers. But I don't know, tabs is usually how I like to do it now. Do you use Harpoon to move then? Sometimes. It depends. Right now, I don't have enough stuff to work on to where Harpoon is like useful to me. Right now, it's because it's just I'm just doing like one file over here, and then like there's just 3 files that I'm working on, so I'll typically just open them up in different tabs. But also this and this, you can see, are in the Nostr.nvim project. Right? Like this is in the Nostr.nvim project, this is in a project called Nostr, and this is in a project called nvim. So like if I open this up, you can see I have one set of files here. You can see I have a different set of files here. And you can see I have a different set of files here. So this essentially allows me to put like 3 different projects all in the same place, which I really like. And then I can just switch between them like tabs. Yeah, because it uses tabs instead of buffers. Or it allows you to switch between tabs instead of buffers. Tmux, I don't use Tmux. The tab thing is useful to me because Control-H binding to navigate is peak comfy to me. That's the least comfy thing. That gives me anxiety to have to do that. I hate doing that. It might be like Tmux. But I want to just use, if it is like Tmux, I'd rather use, not really though, because this is all one instance of the same editor. I would assume if I had to do something similar in Tmux, then I would have like 3 instances of Neovim open, right? Versus this where I have this. And then also these are tabs too, so like, I don't know, there is, like for instance, I can move between, like I can call next tab inside of Neovim, right? And now I don't have to have Tmux open, I guess. All right, so let's go take a look. We have this relay manager, and we have this publish function. Let's see here. Before I do this, let me write some documentation. We're going to need to connect, and then we're going to need to publish. So, actually, let me take this. Set active relay. Oh, okay. Also, set active relay is also going to be a little confusing as well because there's the relay that I want to be active, and then there's setting an actual relay active. Does this use connect? I guess it does. I wonder if it actually connected. We could actually look at the. This is another time, I guess, where we could open up a tab or something. So we'll do space TA like that, and then we'll do go through the logs. I think we'd want to go share, state, nvim. Actually, yeah, it'd be one of these. It's either that one or this one. I think it's this one. Oh yeah, it does connect. Okay, so connected. So it actually did connect to the relay, which is good. And it's been telling me that this has been working, so that's good. Yeah, I don't use tmux. I don't know. Right, you'd have an instance in each tmux window. So, like, that's, I don't know. I mean, if you don't mind that. But I like to just have one instance open and then just move between different projects, like tabs. And then the other nice thing is, too, like, imagine that I want to get out of this project or whatever. Like, I can just do Control-P and just switch to a different project. So, like, if I wanted to have, like, BlogStack open in this one now, and I wanted to do, like, work on, I don't know, whatever in BlogStack, now BlogStack is this project, you know, and it's all within the same instance. And now, like, that's what's there. Then I can move over here, and that's what's in that one, right? So we'll just jump back over to this project. But I like being able to do that. Well, that's one way to do it. I think it's at least worth it to add a language server. Like, if you're going to be developing from it, at least. Let's see now. That publish code. What is this? This is that. Let's go back over here. Okay. So we have relays, which is going to be an array of relays that you would publish to. We have an event. So we're going to need to be able to construct an event. And then we have some functions that are passed in here too, on OK and on failed, which will run like that. Okay. Did I have that ever defined anywhere? I feel like I might have something for this. Might be in repos. I feel like I did some of the work for this, but this is about where I left off. Nah, this is the old stuff that I was doing there. Maybe it's on a different branch in there, potentially. What is this? Yeah, what do we got? Dev. I named it Dev. That's hilarious. All right. Yeah, this is just junk. See if I have like an old commit where I was doing this. Basic reading from a relay. Okay, yeah, that's the code to read from a relay. Maybe I'll take a look at this. Maybe I have the other code that I posted to a relay with. No, just to read. Oh no, here we go. Plugin, register function, publish to relay. I guess we'll do that. Well, no, because we still have to get an event. No, that's not going to be enough. That's not even getting started. we're going to need probably a library for doing events. So let's add one called events.js. And in that library, I guess we will construct events. And once we construct the event, then we'll actually publish it. I think that's probably the best move, to like break up the different things, because we're doing the relays thing here. We have the on event, and then on the on OK and on failed, we'll define that inside of here, I guess. I think that'll be the idea. All right. Well, I'll probably leave some of that code for tomorrow. Let's see here. Primarily focus on Lua. What else do you like to code with? I like to do like JavaScript, TypeScript, Lua. I've done like years and years and years of Java, but I hate Java. But I know Java really well. I've done C and C++ when I worked at Lockheed. I also did a lot of Python too. When I used to do like AI stuff at Lockheed. So I used to work in like explainable AI. So I did a ton of Python when I was there doing that. I've dabbled with Rust. I don't know. Rust is okay. I've written a couple things in Go, I guess, for my job too, for like automation stuff in Concourse. Like a lot of that, like the plugins and stuff like that were written in Go, so I've done a little bit of that. I haven't written a lot of Go though. I used to write a ton of Bash too for like all of the automated stuff. I'm sure I'm leaving. Obviously I'm decent at Lua now because of Neovim, but I don't know. I don't really have a favorite language. I really do want to get into Go though. Don't use tabs or anything? Yeah, I would recommend it. Anyway, I think I'm probably going to be getting out of here soon, because I've been here for a long time already, and I need something to do for tomorrow anyway. I think if we get the events done tomorrow, I think that'll be a productive stream. So tomorrow we'll do the events, and I will see you guys in that stream.